I never forgot what we did just to play, not to win. We had no physiotherapist, so we had to be always smart. We had to always communicate when something starts with the muscles. We stopped the training because there was no help. And I watch left and right in the streets, the bus stops. I see people who go to work and they work 8 hours a day for a third of the money I take. I can completely enjoy what I'm doing. That's the most important, to be always thankful that your job is your hobby. I just watched the players a little bit and see how they move in the airport, and I was like shocked. I said, how is possible? Players so fit, so strong. They let the old people in this club carry all the material and all the bags for the players. And that is the first time in the club I'm working now that I feel completely home, and I can feel completely I'm the missing piece in this puzzle. Where he goes is success because he implements that. If he's in one club like Manchester United, where the things are a bit different, where he's not the strong man, where he's not the strong philosophy behind him and the people who back him up, he will find it difficult to influence the superstars, the moment where the things change, because we have a fantastic team with good players, with big talents. The talent is not enough because a single player touches the ball a minute or two in the game, and 88 minutes or 89 minutes he's off the ball. So I think this time is much more important than the 1 minute when he has the ball. And now we have the pre-season where we can even work harder on the physical things, on the tactical things next week in Turkey. If we keep humble, if we look from training to training, from game to game, and not only see the final goal, because that's a big mistake to always see the final goal, see every day, give your best, be the best version of yourself. And then I think you have a big chance to win the league. Be yourself. Never copy someone. Influence, yes, never copy. In coaching life, if you are not the Jürgen Klopp, don't copy Jürgen Klopp. Also, in coaching life, if you like to see Guardiola but you can't transmit it, don't play Guardiola.
Happy 2024 everyone, and welcome to our brand new Podball episode. My name is Christos Papadimitriou, a professional athlete and the founder of Podball. Our guest today is a former professional football player who is actually one of the few people I know who played the sport in so many countries. He played for clubs such as Hannover 96, Arminia Bielefeld, Union Berlin, Kickers Offenbach, and Valletta, among others. He's currently the head coach of Alemannia Aachen, a German club that competes in the 4th league. So, Heiner, welcome to Podball. How are you?
Thank you very much for this nice introduction, my old friend.
So, Heiner, what do I need to know about you in terms of influences and the experiences that made you the person you are today?
Oh, I could tell you 10 hours about this.
I'm sure.
No, first I think influence always starts from the childhood, from the experiences, from the parenting, of course, mother, father, brothers, and friends, obviously. But I think my whole life I completely gave to football, So my influences are mostly teammates. I didn't have the most easy childhood, to be honest, with many losses and everything. So I focused a lot of football. So I want to not to mention names of coaches, but I had very, very important coaches to me, especially when I was a young player. And I grew up in one area in Germany where it's called Ruhrgebiet. It's a working area. So there was nothing beside football and hard work. So football was like a second religion to the people. So we got very early to know how important the weekend is, how to if you lose or win makes a big impact to the week. So I would say the biggest influence in my life is football.
So let's take a look at your sporting journey as a young athlete. As you said, you were born and raised in Germany, and you did your first steps in great academies such as Schalke and Werden Bremen. What do you remember from these years?
It was a completely different time, I would say it was more difficult to come out from the academy and to arrive at the professional level, because until you are 16, 17, nobody cares for you a lot. That time was very tough, It was good in the retro perspective. It was better, to be honest, but it was very difficult. And as I started in Schalke when I was very young, it was the club who gave me all my mentality till today, because it was in this golden years where you start to learn the values of life. And Schalke is for me the club where you will never lose the ground under your feet. So I'm more happy for this part of value than about the football things like tactic and conditioning and technique, So I'm the person from Schalke. And then, I went to Werder Bremen, complete different area of Germany, complete different mentality. And I felt like a foreigner the first time, although it's the same country, but they have a different pronunciation of German and they are more like cold people. Meanwhile, Schalke is a club of big emotions, So it was the first time I was confronted to be alone also, without my friends, without my parents. And it was completely controversial, but it's good always to have also bad experience, not always good experience. So I think the academy is the most important time for your whole life, because in this generation you learn the values, and that's carries you all the life.
I saw while I was getting ready for this interview that you have a very interesting CV. Why did you change so many times? Because I saw you played for Germany, you played for Cyprus, you played for Malta, you
Yes.
went to China, you went to Saudi Arabia.
Yes.
Some changes that, okay, we do see them now, but that was, I guess, 15 years ago. Some transfers were a bit harder to be made. So why are these changes happening?
It's a question a lot of people ask me, because they have prejudices and they say, you're jumping around clubs and everything. But to be honest, the pure football was never enough for me. I always like to learn in life, and I love to learn languages. Now I'm able to speak 6-7 languages. So that helps me also in my daily work as a coach, as you can imagine. So I see the world as whole. The limits and borders of a country, they are made from humans. So why I shouldn't go over this? In football, in every country, the pitch is 105 meters and 68 meters wide. So why I shouldn't go somewhere else if I'm not good enough to play in Bundesliga? I think my biggest mistake was I was too slow. Not mistake, my biggest deficit was I was too slow. So football turned faster every year, and I couldn't cope in speed. So I had always two options: to drop the level in Germany to play for the second Bundesliga, as I did, or to play in first division in other countries. So the older I got, the more experience you have, the less fear you have to move abroad. And I played in fantastic countries, and I always keep on saying I learned more abroad than I did learn in Germany. So I'm very happy with my CV. Although, of course, the people always ask me this type of questions, and they have this negativity in the question. But I see it as a positivity, and thanks God, the life changed. And today, in the clubs where I used to play players as Henderson and coach like Gerrard, and when I was playing there, the people used to laugh about me, And now the whole life turned faster, and I can say I used to play for the same clubs as these big names do now.
And what do you remember from these times? I mean, one of these clubs in Malta, you were champion with Valletta.
Yeah.
Before you moved to China, or to Saudi Arabia, you moved afterwards.
The first station abroad was Cyprus, and I always say that is one of the most important things in life. I always tell young players, when I went to Cyprus, I was financially a little bit broke, to be honest, because I used to have a lot of money as a young player in Hannover. I used to spend a lot on big cars and nice houses, and I love the life beside the football pitch, and that costs a lot of money, obviously. So when you move abroad and you start zero, you land hard sometimes, And there was an incident where I used to sleep in one hotel. The club took me out of the contract, and I didn't know where to go, so I stayed in my apartment. I couldn't pay the rent, so I used to sleep a couple of nights in one rooftop bar and try to escape before the first people in the morning come back to this hotel when the breakfast start there. So it was a little bit this big influence on my time. So money had a different valuation for me after this moment. So when then comes the opportunity to go to Saudi Arabia, of course it has economic reasons, no doubt. And I was a better player also after this, because I was much more serious from that moment. And no, there were also tragic moments. You forgot Lebanon. I was for a couple of months playing in Lebanon. You can't find it, unfortunately, on transfer market, as I was just playing in the Asia League and not in the local competition. As in the local competition could participate 2 foreigners and 3 could play in Asia. And the boy who always picked me up from my hotel and drove me back home was a German Lebanese, and he was a translator for me. And he died with a bomb attack after a couple of months when I left, because the civil war broke out, and there was a lot of car bombing and everything, suicide bombs. And that was something what stays in my head till now. but I would say much more the positive influences. I won leagues, I won cups, I won best player awards. I enjoyed a lot. I'm happy for my career, and I don't want to change. Even, of course, sometimes people speak bad or blah blah. For me, it's not important. I'm the person I am. I'm happy with that. I never stole. I never took drugs. I never cheat on people. So I'm happy.
You're, as I said, you're a very interesting personality, not just because of the things you have lived, but also of the way you are living your life. And I recently wrote an ebook that is that is called Winning Abroad, and I basically put all the information that an athlete needs before he moves to another country, as I
Okay.
did, and of course as you did. Of course, we didn't have someone to tell us; we have to experience those things on our own. But you are, as I said, you are the perfect example because you have overcome so many challenges. You speak 6 to 7 languages, and having traveled the world, and looking now, like I mean today, these experiences, they make you so capable of adapting into different environments.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
how would you say what a player that comes to Germany, let's say, what would be the essential starting points for a smooth transition?
I always keep on saying the open mind to learn the language and to understand the culture is the most important, because as you open, the people will be open to you. When you are closed and narrow-minded and just listen to foreign music, because you see this quite often. I don't want to give bad examples, but when I moved abroad, I always completely opened my heart to the people. Also, I wanted to know about the history of the country, about the political situation, about the economic situation, about the club in the history. I wanted always to meet the fans and to understand how important is this for them. And it's about how much interested you are in people. As you are interested in people, they're interested in you. If you just go, I see many South Americans with the mate. They come with the mate, with the water, and they go with this. Okay, they can show that they're from Argentina, from Brazil, or from Uruguay. But finally, I think you have to open up a little bit, and you have to be you have to be always the best version of yourself. And for this, you have to open. And I was quite open, as I was always alone. I never played with the second German player in China or in Malta or in Cyprus. I was always alone, so I needed to learn the language. And especially in hot countries where you have a lot of time in hotels together, like in Saudi Arabia, we went for 1 month of preseason, and I was with an Arabic guy in the room. He was praying 5 times a day, so also in the night. Of course, you have to understand him, and that helps me quite better today, because I know how they think about life and what's their value of religion. So I'm happy for that. And when you run around with open eyes, always the things come easier to you as you close them. And that time also, when I went abroad, there was no time for Facebook, no Instagram, even no Skype back then. So no WhatsApp. So I had to take the phone call to call my friends. And the minute from China cost me like €6. So it's better not to call so long. So it's better to settle down where you are and try to see every day everything in the new country where you are. I think that helps you.
Absolutely, and I guess you also made a lot of friends by having this mindset.
Friends is sometimes the situation. What is a friend and what is not a friend? Of course, you have always a good way into the heart of the people when you're open-minded to. When you invite them to your house, they will invite you to their house. If you have this mentality, it's like that. And of course, you keep the contact. And I love it. I love to see people turning from young players to professionals. I used to play with Piero Soterio. He was like 18 years when he was in Olympiacos Nicosia. Now he's a national player. He's a superstar in Cyprus. He played in many countries in Champions League also. Now he's in Japan. Or I see the transformation from many players to coaches or to sport directors. So we have a big network. We are, I don't want to say friends, but they know what they get when they sign me, and I know what I get when I sign them or when I will work with them. And that's the most important. And that calms you also a little bit down, because today to find a job as a coach is not so easy, as there's only one position in the club with this exercises you have to do and with this responsibility. So you cannot compete in this market if you don't have network and not this confidence also to make use from that.
Is there any funny story you remember from you as a German player coming, for example, to Saudi Arabia or to China? Is there something that you are still in the when you think back about this time? It's like is it something fun? Is it still something that is
A lot. I can tell you a lot. And when I was younger, I was a little bit more also into nightlife, into more action and about everything, So, of course, I don't want to spread this here, but I can tell you a very funny story, and it's so funny. When I went to Hong Kong and arrived in Hong Kong, I was thinking I moved to one British colony. So I heard from everyone in Hong Kong the people speak fluent English, And when I arrived in the airport, there was no one picking me up. Actually, I was alone there. I was a bit lost, and I had just one small information where I have to go. There was an address, but I couldn't read Chinese, so how I should tell them, So no problem. And
there was no Google translation back then.
No, there was no Google translation. So I went into one taxi and I was going in the front of this taxi. But the taxi driver was pretending I should go behind him because in China, they sit in front. So no problem. And he asked me where I want to go. And he did this like, where do you want to go? And I said, I want to go to the Regal Oriental Hotel, Kowloon City. Do you speak English? Like this. Okay. So he was asking with a microphone his company, and then someone was able to speak English and asked me this, and I tell him I want to go to the Regal Oriental Hotel, Kowloon City. And then he said, he translated this to the taxi driver. So he said like, what? Wait, hold on. I was writing down everything he was saying because that is my address for the whole year. I was there, So the next time I went to the taxi, I could be drunk. I could be everywhere. I was completely back in the taxi. I said, he was like looking at me, like that. That was a funny thing, but a lot of more. I mean, in China at that time, you can score a goal. If it was a flick shot, they would clap like that. But if you do, for example, a bicycle kick somewhere in the middle line for nothing, they will celebrate it, It's completely different, it's completely different life. Or in Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia also was quite funny, but it was also sad because the coach took a lot of commission from the players, to sign the players, and you have to pay the coach. And the next day the coach is away and no one knows where he is, and then he's home, And then I saw a lot of things in football, to say like that. They are funny now in the perspective now being 42 years. But in that moment, they were sad. I think it was also a good life story to continue believing, to continue working, even with all these funny things, what happened around you, unprofessionalities, and I saw everything.
And of course, you learn from both sides. If something bad happens, you can also learn from it, and don't do it again.
In German we have a word called Demut. Demut is in English, let me say this, humility, humildad in Spanish. And this means that you are just a small piece on this planet born into something much bigger, And when you see yourself in this, I don't want to say you are not small and you don't have to be always, but you have to see that there are much more important things in life. If you get your salary on time, if the pitch is always in the best condition, if you start to play first 11, if you have a small injury, these are things which belong to football. And I think the more experience you have, the less nervous you get when things like that happen, and they can happen even today.
Mm-hmm. So would you suggest to a football player to take his chance and try his luck abroad?
Always the best way of communication is on the pitch.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you score goals or when you defend well or when you are professional, you have the life is much easier, to be honest. When you win games, that's always changing the complete life. If you can be the best player in a losing team, you are nothing. Because the people who see your performance, they finally see the scores and results of the weekend. So I think you have to be tip-top prepared physically in every training. Mm-hmm. You have to show in every training why they sign you from abroad, why they bring you to this country. And sometimes you go to countries where the local players have not the same level as in Germany or in Austria or in England. You have to respect that, but you can never adapt to that level. That's their level, and you are not there for their level. You are there to increase their level. Mm-hmm. So you learn to take responsibility for yourself and also for the teammates you have, because that's a very important thing also. Because especially leadership, as a player, so important in other countries to communicate in the pitch and tell and participate, let them participate from your experience and from your potential. Especially for players who play in the middle of the pitch, you have to communicate. Therefore, you have to learn the language. Therefore, you have to gain the respect of the people first. That happens from performance. So I think the performance always opens every door. And when the door is open, you have to have the right humility to be every day the best player in the best way possible for this team. That they can never say, he comes and now after 3 good games, he's lazy. That's what happened to me in Cyprus. I was the first 3 games from this German training, from this German drill, completely focused. And then in Cyprus, the things go fast, They measure you in points. And after 3 games, I had like 27 points. So 10 was the best grade you can take. And I had 27 after 3 games. So I went out to Ayia Napa. I spent the money and I got lazy and I didn't feel it because I was better than the local players. But over a long period, when the level came together, they didn't respect me as I have been the player in the beginning. And that I can just tell, especially to players who go first time abroad, never be sure that with 1 good game, you are completely safe. Every day, hard work, every day, head down, humility, be the first in training, be the last in training, show them that you are more professional than them if you are in a smaller country, or at least that you have the complete focus on being a football player, and when I played in countries where also there was a holiday country. Cyprus is a holiday country. Malta is a holiday country. Never go to the beach public. Never show yourself there. Be careful in nightlife. That's very important because the people will respect you for the player you are and for the person you are, but never for the nightlife and for the body at the beach.
I see. That's also a very nice message for all these players who are gonna try their luck abroad. And another chapter now I would definitely like to dive in. It's the coaching part of your life. You have been now coaching different clubs for the last 10 years, if I'm not mistaken. I had the luck to be also a player of yours. We have seen a lot of coaches starting their careers in established clubs. However, you are the only coach I know who founded his club. That is called, of course, International Leipzig. And that's also where I was coached by you. So what was this experience like for you, and how did it contribute to shaping the coach you are today?
Coaches today and coaches 20 years or 30 years ago always started in small teams or in small clubs. Today is different. Today, the coaches, they start being a coach even in the age where they can still play. Today, you have coaches who never played football. That was in my time impossible, to be honest, when I played. So when I found this club, I took a lot of experience from the things also. What do you need to be a club? The infrastructure, the economical point, the taxes, all the things around the team. And this was the best. It was like a university for being a football manager, what I experienced there. And I did a lot of mistakes, and they never punished me in that club because I could do mistakes. That's the most important. And today, for example, I'm in a big club. We have around 15,700 fans average. Sometimes we have 20,000 people here, and we have every training 200 people watching the training. It's crazy. Sometimes when there's a new player or a new coach, 200 people come in. It's incredible. 100 people follow us now to Turkey in training camp. I cannot do the same mistakes. So when I found Inter Leipzig, to come back to your question, I was cutting the grass. I was pumping the balls. I was buying the shirts. I was buying the fruits and the water before the training. I was driving the players to training and back, arranging a hotel, picking them up from the airport, and all these things. What the team manager and the sport director, I was negotiating the contracts. I was writing the clauses in this contract. So it's very, very important to have always the whole vision of what do you need in a proper football club. We were not a proper football club. We were just a team, basically, who had incredible good players for the small size of this club. But everyone gave more than just being a player. I think there were many examples where players were picking up players, which was never their job, but they did this. So they learned to take responsibilities. And I think many players from this time still need this experience to understand that in the next club or the next clubs they went, they have much less problems and they see the life a bit different from back then, how we started there, And I can tell you every day about this. It's also back to this demut, humility.
Mm-hmm.
I never forgot what we did to just to play, not to win, just to play. We had no physiotherapist, so we had to be always smart. We had to always communicate when something starts with the muscles or we stopped the training because there was no help. And if you have no help, you have to do it yourself. And it was a complete do-it-yourself club. So we were quite successful. We promoted in the first year. In the second year, we became runners-up. We sold always the best players to bigger clubs. We were nearly the only club who gained money from transfers to repay them into salaries of new players. And this was in 10 years ago in Division 5. So I think we did a good job there altogether, and everyone gained a lot from that.
We were a big family, I would say. If I remember the time I spent there and the time we spent all together, there were a lot of players from every country around the world, having one common goal to make this club bigger and achieve the promotion. And these are all things that you can never forget, because now you have a better life. Now you might be playing in a better club, but these moments shape your character and the person you are today. Because as you said, you have to take responsibilities, because if you didn't, no one else would have done it for you.
Christos, in every club you were and I have been, we complained. We always complain. And also sometimes I get myself complaining, even here. We go to the stadium, we can park the car in one garage under the stadium. I go inside the stadium, they recognize my face in this camera. The door opens automatically. I go in my office, I have everything I need. But still, sometimes I get myself when I complain. Yes. And the players, of course, complain. And I think one of the few things I always bring to one team is to try to control yourself, not to complain. Mm-hmm. Because first of all, when I leave my house in the morning around 7:30, I go to the stadium. When we have training at 10 o'clock, and I watch left and right in the streets, in the bus stops, I see people who go to work. And they work 8 hours a day for, I don't want to say for half the money or for a third of the money I take, or even less. And I can completely enjoy what I'm doing. And that's the most important, to be always thankful that your life is your hobby, your job is your hobby. And I think we learned in Leipzig this quite well.
So yes, I see that every day, because I'm playing in a football club now where actually everything is great. The club has a cooperation with Austria Wien, and you can see the organization is amazing. Mm-hmm. And still, I do see from time to time players complain for different things instead of seeing what they have. So I think it's in our I don't know if it's in our blood or if it's if athletes do that in general. Like we do like finding things to complain about.
I think always it comes with groups of people. When you are with groups of people, especially men, they like to show that they're not happy because they want to be a bit tough in front of everyone, and this is quite normal for groups. So I think the most important is always, as you said, to see what you have and not always to take the focus on what you don't have, because you will find a lot more. So I think we never should forget that we do our hobby every day. This is our hobby, our completely recreation. We would play football even if we don't get money for it. We want to be fit every day. We go to the gym so we can have this every day out on the pitch. We have always a ball. We have people who are with us, like the teammates who also have the same target as we have. So everything is much better in a group than alone. So I think football is the perfect sport for people who learn this lesson of life,
And I think it's easier in the daily life to have a good attitude, because look, I have seen the other side of the coin. So if some of these players are gonna leave this club and go somewhere else, then they're gonna realize what they had.
Yeah.
There is nothing else they can do. The time has passed already.
Of course, and in my experience, when you were just talking about times in Asia or in Arabia or in south of Europe, when I was there, of course, you remember I do this as myself. I remember the positive things much more than the negative things. But in that moment, of course, it felt different. Yeah, Of course. But this was normal in life. I think everyone complained in the moment he was in school. It was so boring. It was so cruel. But after 20 years, when you meet the same people, you say, hey, we had a good time back then. And I think this is part of normal life. This doesn't come only from football. But I think our job as a coach is to take out this from the people, not every day verbally, but to going in front with a good mindset, with positivity on the pitch. And then the players also, when they see a happy coach, they are more happy than when they always see a complaining and negative coach.
It's always about finding solutions and not creating more problems, I guess.
Exactly.
So from Inter Leipzig, you moved to Werden.
Yes.
Sonnenhof Gross Asbach, a club that was back then in the third league.
Yes.
Rot-Weiß Koblenz, BFC Dynamo, and Alemannia Aachen, where you are today.
Yes.
Do you still have the same philosophy, gegenpressing, or is it something else that I need to know about you?
Philosophy. I think you learn every day, and the coaching job is never the same. When you can plan the team from a white sheet of paper, you can plan it completely into the philosophy you want to play. When you take a team like I did here in the middle of the season, you have to do compromises as you can't play as you want. So the coaching is always different. What I can tell you is that that is the first time in the club I'm working now that I feel completely home, and I can feel completely like I'm the missing piece in this puzzle, and it makes me complete. And as I get the feedback from the people, I do them complete and I make them complete. So I'm very happy now in this situation. And this click is very important also to be in the soul, to be quiet and happy and not look for other things. And that makes me very happy right now, and all the other clubs I worked before, they were also quite important, and I don't want to miss anything. But this is the first time where I really, really say, yeah, this club could be the club for the next 10 years of my life.
I would like to ask you about your time as a coach in Gross Asbach, because it was a club in the third league. Mm-hmm. What was the difference between the two leagues, for instance, and to what was also the case when you signed this contract?
Let me give you an example. I start my first day in Gross Asbach when the president showed me to the group around 5:30 in the morning, because we left at 7:30 from Stuttgart airport to Antalya Belek training camp in winter. And, I came there and I just watched the players a little bit and see how they move in the airport. And I was shocked. I said, how is possible? Players so fit, so strong. They let the old people in this club carry all the material and all the bags for the players. And the players just went with these big earphones and they moved around the airport. And they were so completely out of any responsibility. So we landed in Antalya, the same procedure back. The old people, elderly people who were working voluntary-wise for this club, because they wanted just to be part of this club when they were 65, 70 years old. They were carrying the bags back into the next bus, and we left to the hotel. They were complaining about the food. They were complaining about the training pitch. They were complaining about everything. And, the first thing I did in this club was hey, boys, listen, we have here 21 degrees. We have the sun shining. We have 40 meters of buffet. We have fish, meat, fruits, even baklava. We have sweets there. We have water, tea, melons, bananas, apples, everything you want. We have 5-star hotel, the best room, everything we want. And you complain about the pitch. I cannot say that. And that was my first time I spoke to the team, and then you can already imagine how was my time there. I was trying to implement values in this team, and I tried to give them a little bit of humility, Demut. I said that again. And some of these players, they did not care. And that was something what I had to accept. But I do find myself very hard in this moment when players don't see what they have and they don't have these values. And that was the mirror of the team. I could just stay 4 games as I had not the pro license level back then. So in Germany, it says you can be 4 games coach in this league without having this license. And that was already my time there. So I learned a lot from there. I learned a lot. I was happy to take this chance, and we had great games in Kaiserslautern, 30,000 people. We draw there. It was a fantastic experience. But as a coach, you have to plan your career carefully, and you have to know in which moment you have to go in which club with the right players. And that's what I experience here now. The experience I do here now, the players they have all this humility. They have this demo. They know how important it is to clap for the fans after the game. They know what the badge is heavy, and they respect their badge. And that's something very important for me as a coach, as I believe I belong to this kind of clubs and not to clubs where, I don't know, where just 200 people in the games. You know what I mean?
If you had the chance to redo this speech in front of these players in Gross Asbach, would you have a different approach?
No. I did this speech on the pitch, you know. I put all the team around me. I let them come close. I didn't want to shout. I said, look, boys, I'm here the first day and I don't want to be here like the Jesus or something like that. And I asked a player, how far away are we from the Mediterranean Sea here? I said, like 200 meters. Okay, 200 meters. How is the temperature? 21 degrees. Okay. How was the temperature in Stuttgart when we left? -3 and snow. Okay. How is the hotel? Is there some food missing? No. Why you complain? But about what are you complaining? They were complaining about everything, about the intensity of the training, about the air pressure in the balls. And these things, they made me like, wow. I said, I can't believe that. And, you know, as a coach, you have, in this moment, you need the whole club to get this out from the players. If there's just one person in the club who gives them a shelter from this way of method of trying to influence a team, you have no chance, because they will go and cry on his shoulder. And I learned a lot, but I would never be different.
The whole team, I guess.
You know, I'm not the type of, I'm a complete team player. Here I have people around me, the president, the whole committee and the sport director. We have all the same values and we can really fight. We can really fight inside, but we fight inside. And when we go out from the dressing room or from the office, we give the same opinion. It doesn't matter how much we have to bite in our hands, you know, for what is the solution, but we are one. And when you are one, the players have no space to have excuse. And that's, I think, a very important point. And I think that is also, sometimes I met you in Greece, you know, and that was maybe also a reason why AEK Athens back then was so weak, you know, because there were everywhere people who were ready to listen to the players who did not perform. And I think in every club where the things work well, there's a way and a clear way where to go and a clear philosophy. And if you don't follow it or you're not good enough, you will not play, or you will go home one day. The contract will not be renewed. If you're good enough, you get a new contract, you have a better life. And that is the normal way. And this clean way, everywhere you look, for example, your ex-coach, Ralf Rangnick, has been my ex-coach. Now is the national coach of Austria. Where he goes is success, because he implements that. And if he is in one club like Manchester United, where the things are a bit different, where he's not the strong man, where he's not the strong philosophy behind him and the people who back him up, you know, he will find it difficult to influence the superstars. You know what I mean? And this is everywhere the same. It doesn't matter which league you go, in which level. It's just how strong can you lead to this point of your philosophy and in this type of valuation of things. And then you go your way everywhere you are.
At the same time, it's important to have all these people around the club being on the same page as you are. And then success is going to be there.
And I don't believe that the coach, I think, is the most important person in the club. Yes, but the coach without people around him who support him is nothing. That's the most important, because the coach is always the weakest brick in the chain. You know, when you lose, always the first person who is confronted with the bad results is the coach, you know. And so if you don't have these people behind you who look for clear way, for discipline, for everything, you are lost, because the players immediately know where is the strong leadership in this club. In some clubs it's the coach, like in Freiburg, Christian Streich is there 25 years or 30 years. Ralf Rangnick, wherever he goes, he's the strong man. But there are moments where even Ralf Rangnick, as I said before, is not the strong man, and the people around him, they weaken him, and then he cannot lead the club to success, because they're comfort zones then. For me, it's a comfort zone when a player can go besides the coach to the president or to the director and complain about the situation, because I think we're all in the same boat. And of course, the coach has to decide. That's not easy, because you never decide against someone. You always decide for another player, and that to understand also It's not easy for a player who is not chosen first 11 sometimes, but it's not a decision against you. And I think you need help in this, especially in this modern world where the fans also can have a big impact of the atmosphere in the club, from the internet, from the comments they write and everything, good and bad in both ways. So you have to understand that, finally the players play, finally the players have to perform. For the performance, they have to be fit. For this, they have to run. They have to suffer. They have to eat, train, sleep, repeat. They have to work. And if there's just one person who has a different opinion, the laziness of the players will kill the success. And that happens quite often.
So you arrived at Alemannia Aachen when the team was struggling in the league. Since then, you have successfully turned things around, currently sitting in second place, just 2 points away from the first.
Yes.
What changes did you implement when you came to the club? Because I guess you have to perform fast. There is no time.
No, I took responsibility. I invited the fans to the dressing room, and I let them speak out what they were missing from the team, and they were missing fight. They were missing identification. They were missing blood in the pitch, because Aachen, Alemannia is a club where the fans will give you everything when you fight. And I'm this coach. I forgive you everything on the pitch. I forgive you every defeat if you give everything. And this everything is relative. My everything is different than others people's everything. So I implement in this team the mentality that when we lose the ball, we go immediately into gegenpressing. And if we can't gegenpress, immediately behind the ball. This is the first things I changed. And they are very, very intensive, and they hurt, and it pains and everything, and they are boring. And I know they stress you out, but I know, because I have been a lazy player, I can see this from 20 meters against the wind, if a player is lazy or not. And I took this out from them. And this laziness kills success. And first of all, we became more industrious. We were working harder. We had a much better intensity in the trainings. When I'm refereeing the training games, I rarely whistle. So for me, they can kick. They need to be men. They need to be strong. They need to be, in football teams, we need strong people. And from this was the moment where the things changed, because we have a fantastic team with good players, with big talents. Mm-hmm. But the talent is not enough, because a single player touches the ball a minute or two in the game, and 88 minutes or 89 minutes, he's off the ball. So I think this time is much more important than the 1 minute when he has the ball. So I did this basically. And then, of course, we changed. We just play one system now. The ex-coach used to play 3, 4, 5 systems, and the players didn't understand everything, as they are also quite a lot of new players here. So I play 4-3-3, like Liverpool did in the times when they were successful 2-3 years ago. For this, we need speed in front. We need hard-working midfield players who win the ball, who play direct up in front again. I need a fast central defense who can defend the space behind them. I need a goalkeeper who can defend the big space in front of them. And that was the first changes we did. We easier the game for the players, because the game is so simple. Mm-hmm. It has a goal in front, it has a goal back, and you have to score, and you can't score there. That's the key of the game. And if you play with 15 passes and you score, fantastic. If you score from a long ball, the same goal is the same 0-1 or 1-0. So we play like that. And from the easy to the difficult, methodic, we're building up on the defense, on the pressing. Now we go into the next chapter, not forgetting the first chapter, because that sometimes also, from my experience, takes place when you focus on one thing, you forget the other thing. And we're working quite intensive. We have a fantastic coaching staff with athletic coach who was in Hoffenheim, with Ralf Rangnick, who never allows the players to run a meter less than it says the program. And this very clean and clear and disciplined. And I think that's enough for the league. With our supporters in our back, in our stadium, we are quite invincible at home. From the moment I came, we just lost 2 points in I think 8-9 home games we played. So that's very important. And now we have the preseason where we can even work harder on the physical things, on the tactical things next week in Turkey. And I'm sure that we can really speak a big word direction promotion if we keep humble, if we look from training to training, from game to game, and not only see the final goal because that's a big mistake to always see the final goal. See every day, give your best, be the best version of yourself. Be humble, be humility, demut, and then I think you have a big chance to win the league, as we play also against the teams from the top of the league. The first 5 teams, we're going to play all home. So that's also a big benefit in this.
Yes. So the promotion is the goal of the
yeah, of course. Now
I
took this team after 6 games with 5 points. So we were fighting against relegation, if you want to say so. Beginning, that was good for the team.
Yes.
Also to feel the stress inside our club and the supporters unhappy, and unsatisfied. That was important for the team because they didn't forget what happened. So the most important is, in German we say Ärmel hochkrempeln and work. That's the most important, And they have this now. I don't need to complain anymore. You know me when I'm loud and aggressive to the team, but I don't need to do this anymore because we have the right leaders also in this team who have the same blood,
So you're going to the preseason next week?
No, we already started.
New transfer?
We started already.
But you do fly next week to Turkey, you said, right?
We started 3rd of January, and then we have everyday double sessions. Today was the only day where we were off, as we had double session plus indoor tournament the last 2 days. And now tomorrow double session, after tomorrow double session, and then we go to Turkey. 10 days.
Is the team completed? Are you going to do any transfer, or how does it look like?
Yeah, we try to find the right piece of the puzzle. We need a striker, in my opinion, more because we have missing one strong striker from the beginning who's injured. We changed a little bit the formation, but we didn't find yet the right striker for the way I want to play. One aggressive striker who can press, who can give us always high lines, because the striker in the middle, 10 players watching. He's in front of the 10 players. So when he press, everyone will press. If this player doesn't go, the whole team will stay. Yes. We need a player like that, in my opinion. But they are not easy to find. As we have a good team, and the players need rhythm, and a player with rhythm always is under contract, and we can't pay transfer right now. So we must be clever. But I'm still sure we will find the right striker.
And I guess there are a lot of free players in the market. But of course, you have to find the right one, the one who fits the puzzle.
Yes, now they are free players, but the free players who didn't sign from January, they have pressure as the transfer window for them closes in Germany 31st of January. After that, also they can't play even if they didn't have a club. But these players, they have a lack of fitness as they were without team training. So these players, I don't believe they can help us because the winter break is short. We have another 3 weeks to go. In this moment, you cannot build up on a player for the whole season. You need a bigger basement of fitness level. So we need players who is under contract now, and we will see what we're gonna do. But we're looking for some.
Coming slowly to the end, I like to ask the same question to our guests. So imagine waking up tomorrow with all the knowledge and wisdom you have gained over the years. Yes. What advice would you give to yourself as you start your coaching journey? And this can be an advice that can also benefit new coaches starting their careers. So what would you say to yourself?
Be yourself. Never copy someone. Influence, yes, never copy. In coaching life, if you are not the Jürgen Klopp, don't copy Jürgen Klopp. Also, in coaching life, if you like to see Guardiola, but you can't transmit it, don't play Guardiola. That's the most important. Find your way. Find out how you click with people. For this you have to be yourself, because players always understand if you are honest and if you are the person you are, or the person you play. If you're an actor, you will never win a team. You can never speak in front of a group if these people don't see that it's yourself who speak. That's the most important. And I think you can do mistakes, because mistakes I do every day a lot, and you have to do mistakes to learn from that. So don't try to be anxious for mistakes, because you will be sacked as a coach. You will be dismissed as a player after a trial. If I can tell to a young player, when I invite players here for trial, from 10 players, I will maximum send 1. 9 players, I'm sorry, but in this moment, I don't know if you're the right player for this team. So the players go home, and I know they want to kill me, and they want to, I don't know, to be, they're very angry, and of course they're upset, and maybe they have doubts if they are good. No, you have to be yourself. You have to trust yourself. work hard, never give up. It's so simple, but this is the most important. This is the most important. And at the end, it's like in the
recipe of life.
The recipe of life is very simple. I don't know if I can say this in English because I like Rocky. You know Rocky. You know the boxing film.
Yes.
When he speaks to his child, and the child always complains. I said, "Look, you are fitting into this hand. I didn't educate you to always cry. Don't cry. I mean, of course, when you have to cry, you cry. But at the end, don't complain. Don't complain. I'm telling you that kills your own energy level. And you need to be in football. You need your energy to be every day the best version of yourself. If you always deduct energy from yourself by being negative, you can never be the player you are. That's what I can give to them. Be positive. It's so difficult sometimes. And the coaches always are wrong when they don't put you to play. They are always very bad people. I know. But the decision is never against you. The decision is always for someone else. And that's the most important, especially to Latin people or to Mediterranean people, high-blooded persons. Always, every day is important. Not at the end of the career to be a millionaire. Every day to be the better player of yourself, the better version of yourself. That's what I can recommend to everyone.
And I guess we can agree on one thing, that failure is part of the journey, and the only thing you can do is just get over it and get stronger from it, learn from it, and just keep going.
There are many failures you do. In football, you do all the time. You know, football is a game of failures. You know, failures in every game. The goals, they come from failures. But there are two ways of failures. It's failures because you are brave or you are scared. The failures from being brave and being strong, you will learn from that. But being scared, no. Don't be scared, never. Be scared of diseases or of wars, but never in footballer's life. It's a game. And the games always, they have to make fun and you have to enjoy it. If you're scared to play, you will never succeed.
And now we are entering the extra time. I can promise you it's going to be 2-3 minutes more and we are over. So I have prepared a fire round, which is 5 questions. And you have to answer either by saying one word or just a phrase.
Okay.
So we have to keep it short. So let's start. What is the hardest challenge you ever faced during your career?
To play the next game 5 days after I lost my father.
If you had the opportunity to have dinner with a coach, who would it be?
Ralf Rangnick.
What would be your first question?
I would apologize for the way I have been as a player. And then I would ask him, how can you be so motivated after being a coach for like 40 years? Yeah, definitely.
That's a very nice question. So aside from a player's talent, what are the selection criteria for a player to join your team?
His heart, his mentality, and I can look in his eyes and I can tell you if it's a player who follows or not. I can see this from my experience. I can look in the eyes and I can tell you is the right one or not.
What advice would you give to a young coach whose big dream is to coach a team in the big league?
Step by step. There's time for everything. To achieve a target is important to achieve it and not when to achieve it. So do mistakes, learn from it. And if it takes you 20 years, fantastic. If it takes you 30 years, fantastic. No one is born as a coach of Manchester United or Liverpool.
And the last question, what is the main goal for you, but thinking long term? Because we did say the clubs and of course your personal goal for this year is the promotion. But what is Heiner's big goal?
Christos, I'm coaching 10 years and I've not been unemployed for just a single day, not for a single day. And I'm so happy. I want to be coached till my power takes me. I can be coach in Division 4 in 10 years and I will be still fine. As I said, I'm in a perfect club now. I love my club. But I'm doing my pro license in January now. It starts in January. So maybe it will lead me one day out from here. But I never forget. I respect every club in my history the same. And I don't want to look so far in front. Every day. Tomorrow the training, I didn't plan it yet, so I have to do it now. That's the most important now. What comes in 10 years, I don't know.
And that was it for today. I would like to thank you for taking the time and also for sharing all this wisdom with us. And I hope our listeners will resonate. Παρακαλώ. And I hope our listeners will resonate with your story and learn from it. In the meantime, I would really appreciate if you subscribe to our YouTube channel and leave a 5-star review on Spotify, only if you enjoyed our today's episode. Having said that, I wish you all the best in 2024.